Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. We are from Group 12, want to present the performance analysis. Next. This is our group members, which is Siti Ansha binti Azizan, Nurhanis Aminah binti Muhammad Khaidi, Nur Idina Afiqah binti Abbas, and Muhammad Taufiq bin Muhammad Kusni. Next. We have choose GD Express Carrier Berhad, GHL System Berhad, Scope Industry Berhad, and Signature International Berhad to analyze. Next. The first one is GD Express Berhad. Next, for the discussion, the year of 2019 will be financially hard, whereas 2020, it is because in 2020, GDA not have enough liquid asset to pay their current liabilities. Therefore, they are also having problem in converting their credit sales into cash. It getting lower to collect outstanding cash from their debtor in an accounting period. They also lack of management efficiency in administering and service the product and the cost incurred there. They're also unable to make maximum use of the asset to gain more profit. And JIDA also unfavorable ratio in 2020 will indicate some likelihood that a company will default on its debt obligation. Next, future prospect. In view of the economic uncertainties arising from the COVID-19 outbreak, prospect GDEX should continue to content while being proactive toward developing a strong instruction delivery network. Also, the positive volume growth can be seen from digital platform in all segments, including B2B, B2C, and C2C, that to adjust to the evolving business environment. All right, I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Let us continue for JHL System Berhad, a payment service company. Current ratio show increment from 2.07 into 2.29. We can say that the year 2020 showed better performance than the year 2019, with a difference of about 0.22 better than the year 2019. JHL can manage their current liabilities or short-term debt paying better than the previous year. Account receivable turnover had declined from 2.79 to 2.69. Both years had low AR turnover while declined turnover only 0.1 from the previous year. Means they need to add 5 days more for collection period. But don't worry, JHL is a service company which didn't rely much in account receivable. The profit margin decreased from 8% into 2%, while year 2019 showed better margin from the year 2020 like 6% difference. The gap is too narrow to give any impression of loss. It is considered for the company to maintain its performance while pandemic. Turnover also declined from 0.53 into 0.49. This decrement made difference into 4 cents per 1 ringgit from the previous year, but the turnover is still positive for year. The company had done a great job in turning their asset for profit. The total asset ratio decreased for better at 29% from 32% in the previous year. JHL System Berhad are able to turn their asset to cover their obligation better than the previous year with a lesser than 30% of their asset. For future prospects, the growth of JHL System Berhad is steady and linear each year. They may not give a high improvement for the ratio in a year, but we can see that they can maintain their commitment in being a top company for payment service. JHL stay committed to still be in the industry, and the growth of online platform has been more rapid, give a promising chance to perform. They can double fold its performance as a renowned payment service industry by focusing on online contribution. That's all, thank you.
So next is the scope industry Berhad. Okay, next. For the liquidity ratio, the current ratio show that the liquidity and the efficiency of the company is declining from 2019 to 2020 because their current ratio is decreasing. However, the company is still capable of paying its debt because a decent current ratio is between 1.5 and 2. For the account receivable turnover and average collection period, it requires 0.73 times debt collection every 500 days in 2019, while in 2020, it requires 0.78 times debt collection every 467 days. It showed that the scope is able to collect debt more efficiently in 2020 than in 2019. For the profit margin, Scope company has 10.5% profit margin in 2019 and increased to 12.1% in 2020. Based on the profit margin ratio over time, Scope company able to create greater revenue or lower costs in 2020 than in 2019. For the asset turnover ratio, there are 0.11 times chance of asset turnover in 2019 and increased to 0.15 times in 2020. This means that the Scope company in 2020 is more efficient at generating revenue from its asset than it did in the year 2019. For the debt to asset ratio, the debt to asset ratio in Scope company is 16% in 2019 and increased to 18% in 2020. This shows that the Scope company is able to pay off its debt more easily in 2019 compared to 2020. And it shows that the company owns more liabilities than its asset. Next, so for the company future prospect, Scope company financial performance has been declining in 2020 as compared to 2019. This could be due to the negative economic outlook as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which forced the company to close on March 18, 2020 due to the MCO. In order to mitigate the negative effect of the COVID-19, Scope Group will optimize its production operation and save costs appropriately. But significant variation in FFB pricing, rising costs, a workforce scarcity, and unpredictable weather condition will continue to be issues to the Scope Group. Despite this, the management will continue to enhance yield and cost management in order to achieve greater results. That's all from me. Thank you.
For the last company is the Signature International Berhad. For the discussion of performance analysis, for the current ratio, the Signature has a higher ratio in 2019 compared to 2020, which implies that the company has more ability to repay its short-term liability in 2019. For the account receivable turnover and average collected period, Signature has a higher proportion of quality customers that pay their debt quickly in 2019 since it has a high ratio. For the profitability ratio, in the profit margin, the percentage is decreasing from 2019 to 2020. This shows that the company unable to generate more sales and face some loss. For the asset turnover, Signature unable to maintain efficiency at generating revenue from its asset because the ratio is decreasing from 2019 to 2020. And lastly, for the debt to asset, in the solvency ratio, the company has more liabilities in 2020 compared to 2019, which means it has more liabilities than the asset. For the company's future prospect, it is significantly challenging for Signature International Berhad as the COVID-19 pandemic remains the foremost concern due to its severe negative impact to the business. Despite that, the company adapts to evolving market by using the emerging technologies. Putting pandemic aside, the market and demand remain strong, with a full return to growth expected by 2020. They expect a slow but steady improvement in top and bottom line performance when the coming months as the construction sector recovers post-MCO. As for conclusion, it can be seen that most of the company's net profit has decreased in the recent years due to pandemic COVID-19. Thus, it is necessary for the companies to plan strategies in maintaining their financial performance while prioritizing the well-being of staff and business continuity. And that's all from us. Thank you.